programming and what made me try and pursue this career. Okay, so I'll start with, I've heard a lot about web development and stuff like this, and I thought, wow, it's been pretty amazing to get into that sort of stuff. And I remember having a conversation with someone before and saying, now think about doing web development, learning how to program and code and stuff like that. And this person had laughed and said, dude, you're stupid, you're not going to make it as a web developer. You can't, you've flunked out of school, you flunked out of college, you're not gonna, there's no way on earth that you're gonna make web development as a career. So, for me, someone telling me you're not gonna do this, for me that just fucking activated me, and I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna fucking work towards this, I'm gonna achieve it. So I started learning about stuff. I bought a few books. I got a few books from the free site. I bought many courses to do with web development. A lot of it wasn't like modern day. A lot of it was like the old styles of JavaScript and like under the hood and whatnot. So it was learning like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But obviously with the courses that I then went to buy later on, they will teach like Tailwind CSS, and then it will teach like React and Angular and all that sort of stuff. So I started doing this like HTML, CSS and JavaScript, feeling pretty good about myself, and I thought, oh, maybe I can look for front-end development work. So I started researching a bit more, and many people and job descriptions, like there's so many things you have to learn. It's like, it's not just, you can't just learn HTML, CSS and JavaScript. They are a must that you have to know, but then you've got to go on to like learning React and then learning Redux toolkit and stuff like that. And it's like, at this point I was like, what the hell's all this? What does this even mean? And I thought, what, I'm going to dive more into it. And so I started learning about Node and how you can use Node as like to build like full stack apps and stuff. So I started getting into that, started learning about React hooks, messed about with Tailwind CSS at some point. Tailwind CSS, if you don't know, it's kind of like a Bootstrap, but much more better. It's utility first, where so instead of having like a separate CSS file, you've got the classes in with like your HTML markup, or JSX markup if you're using React. So I started getting really into that and thinking, oh wow, this is great. I'm actually getting somewhere. I love the whole development. I love the whole learning and growing. I became self-taught because I pretty much teach myself everything. A lot of people tell me, oh no, you should have gone to boot camps and this, that and the other. You should like go to college and take computer science and stuff like that. But I'm like, do you know what? I'm not going to do that because I want to represent for the people who are poor, who don't have any money, who find ways to go about things. And this is exactly like one of the reasons why I made this whole channel in the first place. Is making use of the only resources we have available to us. Not a lot of people have like enough money to go to college. Not enough people have enough money to go and invest in like £1,000 courses, because web development is not, to get in a web development bootcamp or course, it's not cheap by any means, but there is ways around it. So I started learning that, and I started thinking, do you know what, if I can do front end, why not try a bit of back end and then go full stack? Because it's like, for example, when you're playing Tekken, right, you don't just want to use one character, you want to get a whole feel, you want to master all the characters, right? So that's what I thought about doing, getting into full stack and learning more about how back end works. And so I've got a really good understanding of the full stack and APIs and stuff like that. But people tell me, oh, what languages what programming language do you learn? And for me, it's JavaScript. Like, I didn't bother learning PHP, I didn't bother learning C++, C#, C, anything like that. For me, it was because I found out that you can use JavaScript in the front end and back end. You can make a full stack out of JavaScript. So to me, it just makes more sense to really focus on JavaScript and then study it through and follow it through and refine and all this, that and the other. And it's just more efficient as well, because what's the point of learning JavaScript for front end and then having to learn PHP? Or PHP is like, you know, I mean, JavaScript is a whole lot more faster anyway, you know. But I'm not going to talk about like speed and stuff like this. This is I'm only going to make two videos on this. I'm going to make this video is why I got into it and why you should, and in another video I'm going to, like, if you're a self-taught developer, ways you can overcome challenge and stuff like that, because I've gone through this. Now this is not something I've just thought, I'm going to start doing, because I've been learning like coding for, God, must have been like 3.5, 4 years now. And it was only last year I actually got my developer portfolio up and running, hosted it on Versal, and it was only pretty much last year I actually got GitHub, you know, and started learning about GitHub. Not because, you know, because the whole imposter syndrome, when you're going into a new field and you've not been properly taught, and it's like, you know, why I've seen it is, why would I get GitHub when I can't even do 30 projects? Do you know what I mean? So I'd constantly do these projects and learning other stuff, and you know, I love the whole learning of stuff, and you know, and it's just mad, because when I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm like talking to them about JavaScript and why it's best to use Next.js for page optimization, SEO and stuff like that, and fast loads, and how it can, like, when using Next.js you can server-side render, and now you can do that in React as well, but how page gets rendered on the server and then it gets sent down, rather than like the typical way the web pages worked is that they'll load in the browser and everything. But it's just crazy, it's just a whole lot more faster. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they were just like, wow, you definitely know like your stuff. And I'm like, you know what I mean, like, I thought back in when I was first learning about HTML, CSS and JavaScript, I pretty much knew nothing. I would just like, you know, and I'm the kind of person who, I forget things really easily, so it's constantly having to, you know, do it every single day and drill it every single day. I've only literally just started looking for development jobs, development work, you know. But yeah, found out how to use MongoDB, found out how to use SQL and NoSQL stuff, learning about Sanity, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it's just really good to get into. And I find, like, for me it was like an outlet. Okay, so something else I can challenge myself to do, something that's, you know, like if it's raining outside and I can't practice flips, then it's fine, because, you know, I go in and I'll create a web page and mess around with a few styles and see what I can accomplish, see what I can achieve, you know. And it's like, that's the thing, that's what I've said on one of my blogs. It's like, you don't need a boot camp. A boot camp is a quick way to get you from A to B in a short span of time, okay? But there is ways to do it. Like, I start, like, the reason why I'm not going to be posting loads of video on web development is because I'm no guru. I'm not anywhere near as like traversymedia or anything like that, or Developedbyed. But I will just list a few websites, a few YouTube channels that you can go to that helps me learn, you know. But yeah, so you got Traversymedia, you got Developedbyed, you got webdevsimplified, you got Firebase, you know, all these different ones that I'd just spend like so much time just studying and thinking. And you know, how it worked for me was that, you know, I'd practice a few things, I'd watch a tutorial, then I'd think, okay, how did this work, and why did that happen, and then I'd do it myself. And then if I get into a roadblock, we're going to go on to another video about dealing with problems and stuff like that. But yeah, that's essentially why I got into it, and I feel like you should as well, because you know, it's an outlet, it's something that you can use for creativity, it's something that you can always use, like, to think in your brain, is strategic thinking and stuff like that. It's all like brain training in a sense. And you know, and so I really wanted to get good at web development, and then I saw the earning potential of web developers, and my God, like, web development is a hard skill to master. As a whole, it is quite difficult to learn and master, and you know, you've got all the aspects of it, and stress is just a small part of that. But yeah, you know, I saw the earning potential. I'm like, you know what, I need to really knuckle down on this. And I was doing it like pretty much every other day. Like I'd stay up like to early hours of the morning, just coding away, and you know, you don't get much sleep. But you know what I mean, if you like a day like I'm quite hectic, I've got so much things to do in one day, so you have to find the time somewhere. Okay, so for my time it was like early hours of the morning when I can really get into studying and putting things in place and whatnot. But yeah, there's many reasons why you should get into it. But yeah, I will keep you updated with like any more. The next video I'm gonna post out shortly, but I'm gonna put this on TikTok and I'll put it on YouTube. I'm gonna put some things in the description of some of the YouTube channels I went to. I'm also gonna make a blog on this as well. I'm gonna make a post on my blog on this. Okay guys, I really need to get back to it now. I've gone past my 5-minute mark, so I'll see you in the next one.